y'all, listen, so much has happened. I was wondering if I should combine these reviews, but alas, we're gonna do it how we do it, okay? If you guys are new here, my name is Ashley and this is My Sweet Perspective, where I give my take on all things TV and movie related. And I am back today to talk about Palm Royale episode 2, Maxine Saves a Cat. Okay, like I said, I had kind of vacillated, I guess, between the idea of doing a bulk review, right, since they dropped 3 episodes when it premiered last week, or doing individual episodes. I've gone the side of doing individual ones because why not? If you guys are new here though, go ahead, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, join the community, okay? I'm sure there is something here for you, okay? But let's get right into this episode, honey, because these episodes are taking me on a wild ride. So episode 2 opens up and we flash back to Maxine's pageant days, okay, honey? She is showing us everything she did to get Dougie in line, all right? And honey, Lord. Outside of that, once we come present day, we see her, honey, trying on all the clothes, okay? She has found a rhythm. She is now stealing Norma's jewels and fine things from the assisted living community, taking them to the pawn shop, honey, and spending like her life depends on it. Now, we know in episode 1 that she had already been in the habit of doing this. That's how she got the money for her initial buy-in to the club, all that stuff. But now she is taking it to another level. And when I tell you, the only thing on my mind was my good sis is going to the pinta, okay? That's what I felt like, because you are writing all of these checks, you are stealing, you are pawning. It's problematic, Maxine. I mean, she's writing checks for everything. She's writing checks for the clothes. She's writing checks for everything but her rent in the no-tell motel, okay? It's a mess, okay? Y'all, a literal mess. And Maxine can't help but to get under Evelyn's skin. So while she's doing all of the clothes things, Evelyn is in the other room, okay? And I mean, again, just whatever she can do to get under Evelyn's skin. Evelyn wants the brocade, honey. Give me the brocade as well. All right. She even overhears the little dress guy telling Evelyn, you know, I dressed her like a baby whore. Anyway, it was funny. So back at the pool, at the club, we know that no one still likes her, and Mary is in the pool and she's talking about her upcoming event for fibrosis of the liver, and that, you know, because of the late notice, she would need a check for $10,000, and that's to even be able to come to the party and donate to the charity, okay? And so again, she pulls out another check, honey, and she's writing checks and stealing everything she can. When she writes that second check, she goes back in, and I think she's like, this is the last one, okay? But we're still stealing and we're still writing checks. Baby, Dinah's husband is a whole mess. I believe this is the episode where Dinah's husband Perry finally enters the picture. He meets Maxine for the first time, and Perry is an insatiable flirt that comes off immediately, and Dinah's very annoyed, right? Because she's frustrated because she can't have her fun time with the tennis instructor, and so anyway, she's just annoyed by Perry, and Perry hits on anything with a skirt, honey. So he talks to Maxine. He's like, where's my buddy Dougie? And she's like, you know, he's up in the friendly skies. And then Perry invites Maxine to go play tennis with he and Dinah. And Dinah's like, we don't have a fourth, so why not bring the tennis instructor? Honey, all heck breaks loose on the tennis court. The tennis instructor's trying to make Dinah jealous, flirting with Maxine. Perry's flirting with Maxine. Dinah gets upset, storms off. Maxine consoles her, talks to her, and says, you know, some things you just got to keep secret. That's sometimes the mystery, the intrigue of it all. Why did that set Dinah back on her track? So now she and Mr. Tennis Instructor will be continuing their Bucky Naked rendezvous. I guess everything else be darned, the past pregnancy, all that. Meanwhile, we go into the sauna, the spa, and we meet a brand new character played by our good sis from The Facts of Life from all these many moons ago. I believe her name is Anne. Anne, I think is her name. And she, we find out, is the lead editor writer for the Shiny Sheet, which is the publication that gives all of the tea, okay, for Palm Beach. And so they are sitting in the spa, and Evelyn and the gaggle of the Florida Swans enters, and they start talking about Maxine and how she'll never get her third person, because we also find out very early in this scene, Robert tells Maxine that she will need a sponsor, and he doesn't know why she's getting so comfortable, because she'll need 3 people in addition to keep her membership, right, to make it permanent. And so she's sitting in there with Anne and her new friend, and Evelyn comes in and she's like, yeah, because you know, word on the street is that the only reason you know, Dougie married Maxine is because he thought she was pregnant, or she was pregnant, and that's what caused the marriage. And so, you know, Maxine gets up, storms out, and of course Evelyn gonna be Evelyn, honey, and she's gonna keep talking even louder. It was shade, but Anne reassures her and said, you know, at least they're talking about you, okay? This is what you want in this world, apparently. And I said, you know, Evelyn, so nasty, so rude, so nasty, so rude, Evelyn. But for whatever reason, I kind of like Evelyn. Anyway, we next see Maxine back in the room with Norma, and she's venting to Norma and has a hallucination that Norma is awake, and it's like a whole thing, you know, whatever, just kind of a weird fever dream moment. Next, we find out as she's leaving Norma's room, Maxine's leaving Norma's room, she sees Linda pop out. Now, we know Linda, played by Laura Dern, is kind of like the hippie feminist woman that she's kind of encountered. And so now we find out that Linda is really Penelope, okay, and has a storied past here. But long story short, Evelyn's husband is her dad. Evelyn has the purse strings, honey, and Linda, aka Penelope, doesn't get a dime of it. But immediately Maxine's intrigued, because we know that she is trying to chisel away at Evelyn's bravado and make that her best friend. So she follows Linda to the bookshop, and they have this whole thing, this whole tete-a-tete, and it's just, you know, again, Maxine is such an opportunist. You like her, but her motives are foul. Okay, let's see. Back to thieving for the auction item. So now that we're going to the fibrosis auction, of course Maxine has to come up with something, and she's taken everything out of the retirement facility. So now she goes to Norma's mansion, only to be greeted by Robert, okay? And Robert lives there. He's the caretaker, allegedly Norma's friend, okay? And, you know, she's like, why are you here? He's like, why are you here? Get out. Anyway, she finds this statue. She steals it, because every table at the auction has to have an item to auction off, honey. So we get there. We go to the Raggedy Hotel, where, like I said, Maxine has stolen everything but the rent money to pay for this hotel, okay? And so there's an eviction note on the door, and so she's just kind of stuck like Chuck, honey. She goes to the auction and recognizes, I guess, this statue, and is like, this is only, there's only 2, the other in these museums across the world. It's worth so much money. What ensues later is an entire bidding war. Evelyn gets in it because she wants the item. She probably recognizes it. Ultimately, honey, Maxine bets $75,000. Yes, you heard me right. $75,000 for her own statue. That's when I said Maxine is going to the Pinta, because, girl, $75,000. $75,000. And so Robert is there because we know he works the rooms. He knows the who's who and everything that's going on. And he's like, you know, you stole that. You took that from the house. And she was like, he's like, you don't belong here. And Maxine is like, I do belong here. And he's like, maybe you do. And it's very interesting, because in that moment I was like, maybe Robert never really hated her. He just couldn't see her in this society because of the type of people that exist there. That was kind of the first moment I was like, that's interesting. And so Linda talks with Evelyn, because Linda is there that evening, and she's basically telling Evelyn Maxine can't get in by any stretch of the imagination. And at this point, we don't really know why, right? Why does Linda not want Maxine to be a part of the life, a part of the community? And so afterwards, we see Maxine talking to Linda, and Maxine is just kind of unloading everything, like, I'm a criminal, like, this is bad, I wrote a check, I don't even know how I'm going to do it, and I still don't have a third person to get me in the club permanently. Linda, aka Penelope, signs because once a member, always a member. And I believe the next thing we see is her on the daggum cot at the hotel because she's been evicted, laying there, sleeping there overnight because she doesn't know what to do with her life at this point, honey. It's a mess. But y'all, in a nutshell, that was episode 2. Maxine saves a cat. And you guys, like I said, I am totally into this. I'm going to be pushing these out back to back, but I do think each episode deserves its own video. Drop in the comments below what you're thinking of the season so far. Is this up your alley? Because it's definitely up mine. It's so fun. And like I said, very camp, very, you know, on the nose in some areas, but then I'm here for it. I like it overall. Drop in the comments, let me know what your thoughts are, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.